What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another brand new career mode video. We're back once again with F1 2020, my team, here today for the Austrian Grand Prix, round number 11 I think this is, of this series. So yeah, we're trying to get back on track now after after everything kind of hit a roadblock for a little while. But yeah, we're back once again, and yeah, hopefully this time we can start getting these uploads out again, if not daily, at least every second day. It is still a little bit awkward to get these out, I will admit, as there is still a bit of house reno going on. Shit has not really cooperated with us at all. So we're actually quite a long way behind where we should have been. We should have actually been done by now. But yeah, certain things just not willing to cooperate. But hey ho, that's life. One thing that definitely wasn't cooperating with us was our car in FP1 that you're looking at now. I don't know what it was. It was just as bad on balance setup. It was probably worse when I actually put a full-blown setup on. The car was just so unstable in different parts of the track. As you can see there, we were locking up. So I was having one problem or another. I'd either slightly fix the stability and brake locking would become more of a prominent issue, or I'd fix the brakes, but then the car would get more unstable. So yeah, we're in a bit of an awkward spot. Come the end of FP1, it actually started to rain at the end of the session as well, so that made it quite tricky, I will admit. But we got through all of the practice programs. I think maybe apart from race strategy, I think we actually only got a green score in that particular program, due to obvious reasons, as you know, well, it started to rain, so that caught us out on our third lap of that program. But over to FP2, a much more successful session. I finally got the balance issues sorted. The car was still not great, but it was a lot better than what it was. So we end up P7. Mick Schumacher down in last, but he was on the mediums, so don't read too much into that. Carlos Sainz tops the session for McLaren there. Sorry about the little stutter. It's pretty damn cold in in this room where I do all of the recording. So yeah, I'll try and make sure that doesn't happen for the remaining, what do we got, 25, 26, 7, 8 minutes, however long this goes for. But anyway, so yeah, that was FP1. Time to switch gears over to qualifying now. It is set to rain for qualifying as well, so that could definitely spice things up. We have taken a new engine for this round as well, so we will be starting at the back. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens there. Hopefully we can make our way back up through the field and try and score some points. But anyway, as you could see there, just for a split second, we have the new engine in the back of the car. So let's get into qualifying, and I don't even know what to say, to be honest. Let's just go and see how it all feels. Alright, so here we are for qualifying at the Austrian Grand Prix. We go out right at the start of the session, as you can see it is raining, so that definitely makes things a little bit awkward. We crossed the line to go P4, I think that was provisionally. It did dry out, as you can see, at the end of the session on our final run now. We're up by about 2.5 seconds now, but don't really read too much into that, as all of the AI, I think apart from maybe one of the Mercedes, are in the pits. So everybody is going to improve here, but we flick it through the final corner. We're going to improve by about 3.2. Is it going to be enough to get us out of qualifying one, however? No, it is not. Wow. Okay. So, it's only P19. Valtteri Bottas with a 102.1. My goodness gracious. That is absolutely unreal. We get knocked out in 19th on a 103.8. Only marginally ahead of our teammate Mick Schumacher on a 103.9. So, yeah, we probably got, well, maybe not the max out of the car, but pretty close to it. Unfortunately, that does not do our rivalry any good with Pierre Gasly, as we lose another point to the Frenchman now. So we're behind the 8 ball a little bit here. We need to get our act together in these next few races to make sure that we can actually beat Pierre Gasly and get that 1800 driver acclaim, I think it was, for winning that rivalry.
So, unfortunately, we've picked up some grid penalties, and we'll be starting further back than you expect. As for how bad it is, that'll depend on what the other drivers get.
Okay, so undoubtedly we will probably be starting dead last in this race, unless the AI have some absolutely monumental grid penalties, which I wouldn't expect at this point in the season. But you never know, stranger things have happened. But anyway, almost time to head off for the Austrian Grand Prix now. Dry weather for the entirety of the race, so we don't have to worry about compromising setup, which we didn't do anyway, so thank God. But anyway, as you can see, brand new engine in the car. Hopefully that can help us. But without further ado, it's time to get into the Austrian Grand Prix and see how we go. Let's do it.
Good afternoon and welcome to Spielberg, and to a circuit that in one form or another has held every Austrian Grand Prix in the championship, except the very first back in 1964. It was at this race that John Watson lost a bet and his beard when he took Team Penske's only F1 victory in 1976. If anything, the stakes are even higher today, with 25 points available for victory and a crucial advantage in the championship fight. It's one of the shortest laps on the calendar today then, with 7 rights and just 3 lefts, making up the 10 corners of this high-speed circuit. Turn 2 is barely a corner at all. They'll be flat out through there, a left-hand kink into the uphill braking zone of Turn 3. Turns 1, 3 and 4 are all potential opportunities to overtake. Joining me for today's race once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Lee. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Perez, Ricciardo, Sainz, Stroll, and Lando Norris. Raikkonen, Gasly, Esteban Ocon, and Kvyat. Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Giovinazzi, Kevin Magnussen, and Roman Grosjean. Schumacher, Russell, Latifi, and Lee. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
We'll try, Jeff. Welcome, guys, to the grid of the Austrian Grand Prix. A last question mark challenge, in effect. I was about to say last to first, but no. I think that's a tad bit optimistic with the car that we've got underneath us. So we'll say a last to question mark challenge is what this race is going to be. Strategy, fairly straightforward, soft, medium. You can easily make that work. I'm not too sure what the wear is going to be like on the mediums. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Obviously the undercut, overcut, all these things you have to take into account. If we decide to box early for whatever reason, we might actually be thrown into a situation where we have to turn everything down and actually look after the tyres in order to make sure we make it to the end. But I think we should be all okay. The tyre wear is pretty good. Not just around here, but on this year's game in general. So one stop soft to mediums, it should be pretty easily done. But anyway, it looks like we're reforming back on the grid now, ready to set off here at the Red Bull Ring, formerly known as the A1 Ring. So let's get into it, shall we? 4, 5 red lights, and away we go. Lights went out very quickly there. That was a lot different to the last couple of races, but that's an awful start. Must be said, we dropped way off. Gonna look around the outside of one of the Williams. That's George Russell into turn 1. Did we get that moved on the Brit? No. The power of that Williams just blows back past us on the run up the hill. But now we're going to look to try and make a move back down the inside. We go up the inside of Grosjean. Latifi, we almost looked at Giovinazzi in the process there.
That's what we like to see at the start. Well done.
Thanks, Jeff, butting in at the worst possible time as always. But we get the move done on George Russell. Latifi and Grosjean got back by. Russell coming back at us now around the outside, but no way through for the Williams there. So we maintain P21. A couple of corners later, here we are making a move on the second Williams of Nicholas Latifi. We get the move done up the inside of the Canadian into the penultimate corner. That's up to P20. So the Williams are dispatched. Now it is Romain Grosjean that we've got to work our way through. Mick Schumacher trying to work over Antonio Giovinazzi for P17 there, just ahead.
Nice work, that brings you up a place.
Cheers, Jeff, but you're interrupting again, so if you'd like to stay quiet, that would be greatly appreciated. Looking potentially up the inside of Mick Schumacher now. Nothing doing for us there. That would have been a very, I don't even think it would have been a dive. That was just an accident waiting to happen if we actually tried anything there. That would have been a very interesting team debrief, it must be said. But we avoid the humiliation of running into our own team car for the moment. Coming on to lap 3, however, back up the top of the hill. We send it up the inside of Mick Schumacher. No contact made. That was a bit of a send, it must be said. We were a ways back, but we got it stopped. Very nicely done, and that is up into 18th position now. Let's ride on board from the cockpit of Mick Schumacher. Looking in the right-hand mirror, there comes the second Spiker car from a long way back, just fires up the inside like a missile. We get that move done up to P18 now. We're not going to settle for that though. On to lap 9. Actually a boring race for a couple of laps, but not anymore as we now make moves on Kevin Magnussen, and that is up to P17. Took us quite a while to actually get close enough to have a crack at K-Mag there. Now on to lap 11. We're going to have a look at Antonio Giovinazzi. Are we? That's ambitious down the inside. Massive lock up on the right front, but we get the move done somehow. That was very risky stuff, but we got it done to the end of lap 11. Mick Schumacher. Oh no, no. That's not good. Mick Schumacher has retired from the Grand Prix. Let's go and find out what has happened to our second team car here this afternoon. He comes out of the double left-hander, slows and pulls off the track. No smoke, so maybe a hydraulic issue, gearbox problem maybe. I'm not sure, but that's really not what we needed to see. So we're the only spiker left in this race, so it's down to us to try and bring home some points. We're definitely in a good position to do it as we come in to the pits now at the start of lap 14. 14 laps on the softs. Now we're going for 22 on the mediums. Should easily be achievable. 2.8 second stop from the boys. Not bad, not their best.
Okay, stay clear of the white line on the exit. We'll receive a penalty for dangerous driving if you cross over into the track.
Alright, so it looks like we re-emerge in 17th position. Not ideal, but once again, I don't think that is where we effectively stand in this race. We've got a pretty speedy car underneath us, so I feel like a points finish is definitely on the cards, but we've got to get through this traffic. First up, Nicholas Latifi in the Williams. I think he hasn't stopped yet, so he's on 14 lap old soft compound tyres. They would not be feeling great right now, and we easily get around the Williams there. That's up to P16. Next up, Kevin Magnussen, Max Verstappen on to lap 16 this is now, so a couple of laps further on, we now get right under the rear wing of the Haas driver. We're in rich and overtake slipstream. DRS enabled. We've got a good run. We might go for a send here. Yes, we do. We duck out at the very last minute. Magnussen sees us coming, gives us room, and that is move made up into P9. Very nicely done. On to lap 17 in the exact same spot once again. Verstappen now having a dive at Pierre Gasly. So AlphaTauri versus Red Bull right here. And it looks like Verstappen might just win out on this battle, but we've got a good run on the pair of them. We get Gasly. We're going to have a look at Verstappen here as well. Lock up on the right front again. We need to stop doing that. That is not going to do our tyre wear any good. Still enriching overtake. I thought about trying to have a look up the inside of Verstappen into that left-hander, but I decided against it at the last minute. I felt like it probably would have just ended with one of us facing the wrong way. Probably me, considering that the AI, well, they do turn in on you a little bit this year, it must be said. But anyway, we avoid that that time around at least. That's a warning for exceeding track limits towards the end of lap 22, so that is not helpful. Cutting on to lap 27 now. The race really calmed down, to be honest. Not an awful lot was going on. We were really just sticking within the DRS of Max Verstappen, which is quite a feat in its own right, that we're able to actually keep up with a Red Bull. All the way onto lap 30, Lance Stroll, I think that was, is out of the session. So Racing Point not having a good time here at the Austrian Grand Prix. Very reminiscent of the opening race of the season. A Stroll with a massive engine failure through the middle part of the lap. Pulls over and pulls off the circuit, and that is Stroll's Austrian Grand Prix done and dusted. But coming back onto our POV, what on earth do we have going on here? On to lap 33. Now all of a sudden we got a four-way scrap for P5. Raikkonen, Perez, Verstappen. Now we're going to look to the inside. We're nearly 4 wide on the run up the hill. Surely this can't work. Lock up on the right front. Bang tyres with Verstappen a little bit there. Now we're losing traction. It's all kicking off here with 3 laps to go in this Grand Prix.
Be careful. The tyres have deteriorated significantly at this point.
And locking up like that will not help that cause. Oh boy, our tyres are actually... We might actually struggle to make it to the end here. We're 70% on the right front. We've got 3 to go. We're definitely going to end up in the 80% window here. Oh, okay. This is actually fingernail biting stuff here. On to lap 35 now, and the right front has given way. Oh no, we've got a flat on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, struggling to even keep the car pointed in the right direction. Now, I'm going to just say this once to you guys. You're probably going to call me crazy, but I actually decided that I wasn't going to pit. We were actually going to go around, continue, and see if we could somehow potentially still snag a point. Warning for a collision with Albon there. I don't know what he was doing. But you can see we're going nearly 300 kilometres an hour with a bloody flat tyre on the right side. Oh my goodness, this is just F1 suicide right here. Sergio Perez gets past us now. We've got about 6-7 seconds to the group behind, consisting of Kvyat, Ocon. I think there's a McLaren back there. We've got our work cut out for us. I'm still trying to push as hard as I can, as you can see. Voice crack there, sorry about that. But Lewis Hamilton, meanwhile, wins the Grand Prix. Couldn't give a rat's ass about that. We're trying to hang on to 2 points in this race. The guys behind are coming quickly. This reminds me of the Cars movie, to be honest. Lightning McQueen trying to make it to the end on the final lap. Anybody remember that? Of course you do. But anyway, into this double left-hander now. We are just having to cruise around here as slow as we possibly can. And now we're being overtaken. There goes Ocon. There goes Kvyat, Giovinazzi, Gasly, Vettel. All go streaming past. Lando Norris right up behind us there as well. I think the McLaren may actually get through. We're still trying to get around to the end here as fast as we can, but Norris goes clean around the outside. And from what was looking like a P6 finish, is going to be P15. We took a gamble, didn't pay off.
Yet another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today.
Alright, so there we have it, guys. Career mode, Austrian Grand Prix, done and dusted. Lewis Hamilton wins here at the Red Bull Ring from Charles Leclerc, Valtteri Bottas, Daniel Ricciardo coming home, a brilliant P4 for Renault, just ahead of Max Verstappen, Kimi Raikkonen, Alex Albon, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon and Danny Kvyat rounding out the top 10. Man, that stings a little bit. That was definitely a P6. That was, well, I felt like it was in the bag at the time. I turned everything down those last 2-3 laps. I tried to look after the tyres the best I could. I knew that front right was going to be borderline, but I don't even think it got to like 85% and it already blew. So I don't know if that's maybe just a one-off glitch type of thing, but tyres, very sensitive it seems. We dropped down to P9 in the drivers, but that's okay, we're still in the top 10. Constructors back down to P9, still definitely in the fight for P7 though, so we're still all good, we're still right there.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Do you think that grid penalty was justified?
Well, yeah, it always is. I mean, you know, you take a brand new engine, you get a grid penalty. It's as simple as that. It's black and white in the rules. So, yeah, of course it was justified.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, we sure did. The start wasn't that great, I must admit. Our launch was atrocious, but we just kept moving forward from there. Until the penultimate lap, anyway.
Your team must be ecstatic with how you're performing.
I think they would be. We didn't come away with another points finish, but we definitely have a car that's capable of finishing in the points.
How do you think this team will be feeling after that result?
I reckon AlphaTauri would be pretty happy with a double points finish, but they definitely got lucky. Danny Kvyat was not on for points. He only got it because we had a failure.
Appreciate your time.
Alright, thanks for that, Claire. Once again, being a royal pain in the ass. But anyway, looking at the rivalry, we actually both scored 3 points in that race, so we remain 2 points behind Gasly. Yeah, I got to admit that does kind of sting a little bit. I mean, we were on to beat him and gain at least a point back, so yeah, that may end up hurting us come the end of the rivalry. I can say now I've recorded up to the Hungarian Grand Prix and it is still very close between us. I still can't say which one of us is going to win. But anyway, we got about $3.5 million on hand, so that's nice. Looks like we got a sponsorship renewal, so we will renew that as I want to keep Sunburst on the car. But now we have a contract renewal for Mick Schumacher. Interesting.
Here, you can make an offer to your driver. The more you offer, the greater the chance of them agreeing to it. But be careful not to insult drivers though. If you do, they might refuse to deal with you anymore in this negotiation period.
Alright, so we have officially reached halfway in this season and it is time to renew our contract with Mick Schumacher. I did think about this a couple of races beforehand and I decided that I do want to try and keep Mick Schumacher on as a teammate. So we send him an offer of $2.5 million and Mick Schumacher has declined that offer. Oh, okay. So that's a little bit awkward. So $2.5 million was not enough for Mick Schumacher. And well, as you can see there, I was looking potentially at other drivers, if there was anyone in particular that I might want to sign. No one really caught my eye. As I said, I'd basically already decided that Mick Schumacher was who I wanted, at least for the rest of this season. So we approach him again. He's willing to talk to us again, and this time I'm taking no chances. We will send him a $2.66 million offer, and there we go. He has agreed. So Mick Schumacher is now officially signed on for the rest of this season at least. He better start performing though, particularly for this back half of the season, as his results have not shown, in my opinion at least. I think the car is capable of quite a lot more than what Schumacher has been able to do. So yeah, I'm not too sure what the deal is there. We probably could be working on Mick a little bit more as a driver, I will admit. So I will delve into that a little bit more, don't get me wrong. But yeah, he really does need to start performing, and start performing quickly.
It's the last day of the contract window, and we haven't secured a driver for our second seat yet. It's really important you negotiate terms with someone quickly, or else our reserve driver will take over. And look, they're cheap for a reason, you know?
Well, I don't know what you're looking at, mate, but we have Mick Schumacher on board for the rest of the season, so securing a second driver is no longer an issue. We won't have to resort to the reserve driver. I couldn't remember the word then, sorry about that. But anyway, we're running a bit low on cash, but we have a solution, an invitational event, Time Attack at Japan. Let's go and have a crack at this one.
Welcome to today's invitational event, where some of the world's finest drivers will be treating us to a special exhibition of some of the sport's most iconic cars.
Alright, so here we are, booming around Japan, the short circuit, in a, well, what is quite a special F1 car, edged in history, it must be said. The old McLaren. Can't remember which one actually off the top of my head. Crap. that's a little bit awkward. But anyway, we got through this invitational event nice and quickly without any dramas, and that is a nice haul of cash and driver acclaim, I think, which will be coming our way. So that should definitely help us out. And yeah, for the moment at least, we are looking good.
Okay, we've had the new parts come through from the fabrication process. We'll have them with us for the next Grand Prix.
Alright, well that is good to know. All of the upgrades have gone onto the car without any issues. And yeah, we're looking at pretty good. Aero, we've got the 4th worst car. We're ahead of Alfa Romeo, Haas and Williams, so that's okay. We're not the 2nd worst like we were at the start of the season. We've got the 3rd worst engine on the grid. We've got the worst durability by a country mile. So we may have to do some work in that department, as that will not do us any favours. Chassis, despite the fact that I feel like the chassis is the side that we've worked on the most, we've got the 3rd worst car. So I'm not too sure how that works, but yeah, that doesn't make much sense to me. But anyway, I think that is just about going to do it for tonight's episode, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the Austrian Grand Prix. We'll try and get the next round out tomorrow afternoon at some point if all goes well. The British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Definitely one of my favourite races on the calendar. I really like Silverstone. Hope you guys are looking forward to that. And spoiler alert, might not have been the best race result-wise, but it was just a real good race to do. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, remember to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, to see plenty more F1 career mode content, league racing coming back in the near future as well. But until then, I hope you're all well, and I will see you all next time.